You're listening to Materials Business, the podcast where engineering, leadership, and innovation meet diversity and inclusion. Hosted by Monica Hernandez, engineer, entrepreneur, and industry advocate. When we embrace different perspectives, we create stronger industries, smarter solutions, and lasting impact. Now, let's dive in.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when are you watching us, and thank you for being part of the Material Business community. My name is Monica Hernandez, and I'm your host, and I have a really good friend of mine. We have been trying to do this episode for a long time, and I'm so glad we are finally doing it. Nafiseh, thank you for being.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your patience with me. I
It
really
was
appreciate
always you. It's it's just alignment, right? So we are here today.
Yes.
So we are going to talk about the one message for the audience will be like, it is possible. And we have someone that is a mother, that is a doctor, that is an immigrant, that has been in different positions and is rocking it and is now a leader and a role model for a lot of us women scientists, engineers, and the list goes on and on. So without further ado, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm not sure I deserve all of that, but I really appreciate it. My name is Nafiseh Ebrahimi. I'm a research officer at National Research Council of Canada. And I'm also a director at the board of directors of AMP, which is Association of Material Protection and Performance. And on background, I have a bachelor and master degree in material engineering, and then I pursued my Ph.D. in electrochemistry and corrosion prevention. And just excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit your story. Like, how did you end up doing all this research that sounds somehow scary and lots of technicalities?
That's such a good question. I don't know where to start, but I'm always interested in trying different things for like looking at this problem from a different angle. And I'm very lucky that the job that I'm currently working on, the innovation and being bold is part of the job requirements. So anytime that we get a problem that's coming up and we're trying to come up with solutions, and that's another thing that I really enjoy in my current role is that we have experts in different areas. Like I've worked with civil engineers, I've worked with uh, computer scientists, and you have access to this vast knowledge, and you can be bold and you can be creative, and then you can just try. And I've always been very, very lucky of the teams that I become part of. And we just try and we just, take it one by then and that one day at a time, and then we'll see where it takes us. And uh, usually it's somewhere exciting.
That's so cool. You got me excited right away.
uh, um, yes, I have some exciting projects that things are changing, Monica. Things are changing. The world is changing, and the change is sometimes scary, but it's also sometimes an opportunity to try things differently. And and for me, I just want to see what's possible with the new tools that we have, with these new technologies that are becoming available to us. How can we look at the same problem and with a different set of tools? Can we come up with a better solution, maybe?
So Can you tell us perhaps one of those exciting projects? I know a lot of the things that are done in a research, especially the National Research Institute, that's like secret to us mortals, but whatever you can share of something that is exciting, because I know that you've published a lot of things and then you're working with, like you said, multidisciplinary teams and then you get to touch things. So what are some of those things that are really exciting?
One project that I really want to talk about is that we just finished a project with multi various teams that came together to make this work possible, and we installed live corrosion monitoring systems on over a bridge, a real bridge, and the work was just it was so much fun to do because we had to close down the highway. The Ministry of Transportation was involved. Various teams at NRC came together. The NRC at construction, and NRC at ASD. The teams came together. The system was used. These type of monitoring were being used commonly for 10 years on vehicles, but we wanted to see can if you use it in vehicles with fantastic like success, can we use it on bridges? And the system was different, but the science was kind of like similar. So the team came together and we made that possible. And we were successful in collecting data over uh, various locations in a bridge over the whole year. And I'm talking live mountain, like you have rain coming down and then you see spikes of like corrosion going up in the application that we created for live monitoring. And that data, after 1 year of monitoring, we looked at things and we're like, okay, it looks like we have a system that is different, and now we have an opportunity to maybe do things differently. Maybe we can have the maintenance a bit scheduled differently so that we can protect our bridges a little bit better. And things like that. Like we are going to publish that work soon, so hopefully maybe people can have a look at that. But things like that we can do these days, instead of just like guessing, we can have actual monitored systems that shows you things. And maybe later on, if we have enough of these data collected, maybe we can have predictive ways of knowing, okay, like this is the temperature, this is the environment, what would be the estimated risk area, and thinking about those type of practices, data driven and predictive. It just excites.
It does, because now you are kind of getting the knowledge that we have in other areas to areas that are still developing. So infrastructure, and I know we've spoken about that a lot. Like aging infrastructure is a fact. So how can we make to from our position extend that, or how can we transfer that knowledge? And you mentioned two things that I noted here, and not being afraid of changes and taking it as an opportunity, and teamwork. So working with different teams, it was a part of the solution that was created. And I don't think there has been one episode that we have recorded where we don't mention teamwork in this podcast. So, from your perspective, what do you think about that? How is this teamwork enhancing the work that you're doing?
I just cannot imagine doing the work without teams. Like these types of multidisciplinary bold moves that you're trying to go and stop a highway so that we can have sensors installed, like there were a number of various teams and different people from different skill sets came together and made it possible. And that's the beauty of it, that we can all work together for a greater good, which is the sustainability, to become more sustainable, to become better at protecting our assets and infrastructures are aging. These are something that everybody can relate to. Like every time we go past a bridge, every time we're crossing the road, like the benefit for is for all, and then people can connect to it and can really um, bring their, like, okay, let's get this one done. That pride that
Exactly.
pushes you, and you're like, okay, like let's get this one done. And it's all possible because the vision is there, the support is there, and the need is there.
So, what I'm hearing is we have all those different initiatives and then the teams that come together to realize this, to push a more sustainable solution that will help us maintain our assets, whatever kind of asset it is. But it also impacts day to day life. And that made me remind the other day we published a short of one of our podcasts. And there was a comment saying the short was about corrosion touches everyone. Everyone should be, know at least what that is. And then someone commented, yeah, well, not in my world because I'm a psychologist. And I thought, oh my God, well, yeah, anything that you use in your work has to do
Have
with
you looked
material.
at your car?
Yeah, or your computer, or your, all of everything is made of materials, right? So it is material degradation is something that is a fact. So it's interesting that you mentioned that because it is this kind of way of thinking that that's not my problem, which get us into trouble, and that we can't really learn if we have that push away and then we push those opportunities. So I'm really glad to hear that we are going in the right direction. How do you see us as a perhaps the investigation, the development, everything that is being doing in Canada? Is this going at the right speed to get to the sustainable solutions we want to get?
um I don't know if I can comment on this speed, but I can tell that we are in the right direction.
That's good.
Speed is something people, to some people we are going fast, to some people we're not going fast enough. But I think what's important is that the direction is there, the need has been identified, and um, then you see movements. You see movements in various countries toward more sustainable solutions. You see movement in organizations. As I mentioned, I'm a part of AMP, and AMP really focuses on sustainability because as material engineers and people in protection of material, we realize we've been in the business of sustainability for a very long time, right? We understand it, and now we can maybe talk about it in a like more bold way because a lot of people and a lot of governments and everybody is kind of like more aligned. We don't have unlimited resources, right? That's something that everybody is realizing. Okay, we don't have unlimited resources. We have to become um, a bit more um, cautious, or like better. We need to get better at decisions about the material and where we're using them and how we're using them and how we recycling, are we reusing, these conversations are becoming more important, and um, I j- I like the direction.
And that is important sometimes. And then you're completely right. Sometimes the speed is something that is difficult to measure because everyone's standard is different. But trajectory and direction. This is what moves us. So I'm glad to hear that we are starting to move the gauge in the right way.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Amazing. So we've spoken about one project that was really cool. Can you tell probably the audience one time that you were in a project and you were like, oh my God, this project is so complicated? Because the audience wants to know, like, this is so cool. I want to be like you. But tell me the side that it is a little more difficult, let's say, in
I
being
think,
in.
Monica, every project that I've taken, once it's like, once the proposal is approved, I'm like, oh my God. Now I really need to deliver. Yeah, I think it's one of my colleagues has a beautiful saying that's it's very brave to be scared and still do it, you know? And mm, from one thing that I realized is that you might not know the details from the beginning, but um, if this is something you want to do, you'll find the way. And once again, for me, I have a lot of amazing people around me who supports me in different ways. I feel very safe to go to my colleagues and say like, "Hey, I have no idea what I'm dealing with here. This is what I'm trying to do. Can you help me?" You know, and then um, people will, you know, each person maybe like direct you to another direction, and then you from that to another, and it's just a journey. Every time it's a journey, and there are things that I don't know. There are things that I think that I can do, and then I can't, so I have to pivot. But it's just showing up and doing that's important. Sometimes I think wanting things to be perfect makes it hard to actually do anything. So um, just take it in smaller bites. And yeah.
You made me remind of, I had a boss one time, friends also, and she was in the Montreal refinery. I don't know if she's listening to this, but if you are, thank you. And she said to me one thing that stuck with me, and it's been in my mind for 21 years, since the time I met her. She said, a big elephant, you eat it with a little spoon. And sometimes we get so scared because, like, the amount of things that happen in our mind is like, now what if, what if, what if? And if it doesn't, and if we pivot that to, what if it does? What if I can? What if I just little by little, and then instead of looking at the whole elephant, okay, let's start eating the big ears one by one with little spoons, then it becomes easier. And then you actually get those micro doses of achievement and, oh, I did it. Okay, next. So that is, I think, very necessary.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And sometimes things are in our head. We think, like, so I tend to like overanalyze and then prepare for the worst case scenario of things. But in reality, a lot of times that the things that we fear from doesn't happen. So I've learned to, every time I'm getting overwhelmed with a lot of information or a lot of things, I try to like take a minute and I'm like, okay, um, this is what's actually happening, and these are like the things that I'm um, making in my brain is trying to like process it and prepare me for for strategy or whatever. Okay, this is what actually is happening, and this is the one I need to be tackling right now. And then once I do that, then you have a bit more clarity of okay, like what will be the next action item and the next thing that I can do. But having said that, it's also important to have room for mistakes, We can't always be perfect. It's not always right. So um, it's okay to give ourselves room for making mistakes, and then just take that as an opportunity to learn something, and and move on. So yeah, that helps. This is how I cope, I guess.
I think it's such an important piece of advice, I'll say, and is taking that second to breathe and be present and say, okay, is this the lion that is going to eat me, or is just, you know, a little toy cat that I have by my side, and I don't have to be afraid of it, and really bringing that reality to the present moment. I also do that a lot. It's like, okay, is this like real life threatening or not? So should I run or just breathe? And 100% of the times is just breathe. So
Yeah.
that I think for people that are listening to us that feel overwhelmed in today, take a moment, pause the video, and it, and then come back and then keep listening.
No, that's true. That's true. It's funny. Like I think for me, learning how my brain works really helped me, because the brain, the way it processes information, and it's just it needs to kind of like prepare because it thinks our safety is in danger. So um, for me, just kind of like taking some time to understand how brain functions, and then how it stores information, how its reactions are happening, has helped me to be like, okay, this is my brain doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm gonna like bring it back to the moment with my breathing. That's a technique that that's the way we can communicate with our bodies, and then try to take it from.
It's very important, especially because, yeah, the brain tells us all sorts of things. And then what, like how many of those things are really, truly gonna happen? The actions you take, right? Definitely. So you also mentioned on having a support system, having a team, having people to rely on to, and in the professional life, for what we have been saying here is like you have a lot of resources, you go here, there, um, but you also have kids. And I know as moms have, especially the ones that don't have support system, like back in Colombia, you have the auntie,
Oh,
the cousin of the neighbor. I don't know, like so many people like that could lend a hand, that could bring a meal, that could drive the kid, that could, I don't know, whatever. Like one day my kid needed to go in some sort of, the next day he had some presentation or whatever. And he told me obviously at 10 p.m. the night before. So, and it was like PJs or something with animals. And we had all sorts of PJs, but not with animals. And I was like, oh, wait, I wish I could call, my cousin, to lend me pajamas. So how is that journey been for you?
difficult, I guess. um, Being an immigrant and being a mom, and oh, it's a very, very tough job. And to add to that, I have twins. So I was blessed with two kids at the same time, which really tested my strengths. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Raising two kids, between me and my husband, who's an amazing dad and amazing support, but you don't have that village around you that's you have when you have family around. So how do I manage that? Is that I um, um, I hire some help to help me get through all the tasks because like it's just too many. It's just too many. And understanding that, okay, I have this much time, I have this much energy, and these are the priorities. Like I really prefer to spend the energy and the time that I have in building relationship with my kids because the reality is that I don't see them enough a lot of time. Like I feel like uh, life is busy. In the morning, the morning rush, you need to get ready, get everything ready, get outside the door. Then I'm working here, and then it's like going back to like another rush in the evening, the bedtime, the story, the play, and I'm like, okay, I really prefer to have the time to play with my kids and make relationship. So how can I make that possible? And I'm like, okay, maybe this is an area that needs some investment, so I hire some help for some of the tasks and um, I do meal prep on Sundays because I don't have time to be cooking, all the time. Like I do the meal prep, we do the shopping and then we do the meal prep on Sundays so that during the week things are faster, easier. You can build up and you just have to become more efficient in the way you do things. I needed to come up with systems that are working for us, and this system changes every time that the kids are changing, right? When they were babies, when they were like me and my husband, we were on shifts. We couldn't see each other much because like as like one had a shift to like take the care of the kids, the other one was going to take a few hours of sleep, and then it was like the reverse. So the teamwork had to become, really perfected. The systems had to become perfected. The time really had to be managed really, really tightly to be able to um, just survive. But it's possible with help. With help, it's possible.
It's important to know where to dedicate your energy and what are the priorities. And that goes back into something that you said, I noted here, knowing your brain. And I think it goes into knowing yourself, right? Where are your priorities? And then if your priority is on playing rather than cleaning, let's be it. So be it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I had the pediatrician, well, not the but the the doctor that was looking after my pregnancy said to me one time, when the baby sleeps, you sleep. You don't cook. If you don't have time to shower, don't shower. But I can't imagine having two. Like you're my hero. Like multiple kids' parents are always. I have always had a lot of admiration because if it is tough with one, imagine multiple at the same time. It's
It's tough, but then it also pushes you toward another version of you that you had no idea existed. Like I I had to kind of like it was a challenge, and then I had to like it was survival. Like I needed to figure this one out. So it really pushed me toward a version of myself that is good at multitasking. It's good at uh, like kind of like reading things and then taking care of few things at the same time. And I became efficient with better with my time. I became better with my planning, and it's just you just have to adapt, right? So um, I just want to also mention that it was an opportunity for growth that I really, really appreciate. And it's crazy, but it's the most joyful thing that I do to be a mom.
amazing. I love it. And I think a lot of the audience that is in that verge of somehow the narrative around women in STEM is you have to choose career or motherhood. And here there are two very successful women in STEM that can tell you it's possible. Yeah, it's chaotic. And then sometimes you don't take a shower for 2 days and that's okay. But then it's possible. And then you make it happen. And then you make the most out of your moments. And the most beautiful part is that you discover areas that would improve the way that you are as a human
Yeah.
by going through those phases.
Yeah. And because I'm a mother, I have so much more motivation, to become this version, the strongest version of myself, to do better in anything, any way that I'm, you know, becoming present in any domain or anything. I want things to be in a way that like my daughter would have would be proud of me, and then she would have a way of like living in the future too, to model things for her that like, hey, like you can, you can maybe if this is something you want to do, like you can. So that brings me another way of like being, because I'm trying to model things for my daughter.
I don't think you're only doing it for them, but for every other person that talks like you, that looks like you, that is in a version. Like if there is someone, there is a lady or a girl in Iran, and then they're watching this episode and they're like, oh my God, this is so cool. I can be here and I can be working with the government and I can be studying things and research and development. How cool is that? And I also have kids. And so realizing that you are making that path possible for other people is really cool.
And I think, Monica, I think that's why, um, when you first invited me for this podcast, I'm, it's out of my comfort zone. It's not something that comes very easily to me, but the thought of, sharing my story, sharing, uh, who I am and how things are, and then, if that could maybe make things, um, possible, or, people see things and they're like, oh, yeah, like I can do it too. There is no reason no somebody else can't do. So if that if this podcast make it possible for one person, I'm glad that I've done this and I came out of my comfort zone to do this interview.
It will. I can sign on it right now. um, it's been super cool time. Before we hit recording, I told you in a matter of nothing, a blink of an eye, we will be saying this is our last question, and we are at that moment right now. So it's been amazing speaking with you. Thank you for all your passion, for everything that you've shared, for all that encouragement. That is sometimes the one thing that we need. Sometimes we just need to hear, it's okay. Like tomorrow is going to be a different day. Just keep going. It's okay. So thank you for that. And I'll ask you two more questions. The next one is, what is the last message for the audience?
It is my last message for the audience. Oh, you're tricky.
And that's why they love me.
I think, one thing I want to share is that give up this. I think, two. I have two. The first is that, I hope everybody would take time to take care of yourself. You know, it's so important to, um, take time for ourselves in our lives and in our day to days, and when everything is crazy. Take few minutes, 10 minutes in the morning to yourself, to clear your head, and then see what is your intention for your day. And, I think I like, maybe I like to to have that message going forward, that it's important that, we take care of ourselves first before going and giving our all to to the job, or to the motherhood, or to the community. Um, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that um, to bring their authentic self to any room that you go. We're all trying. We're all trying. Uh, we're all trying.
We're just
Um,
human.
that's human, and it's
Beautiful. That brings me to the last question, and is why should people listen to the Material Business Podcast?
I didn't get that.
Why should people listen to our podcast?
Mm, you told me something in the beginning that this podcast will get to the right audience, and then the right audience will find it, right? So why should people listen to it? I think it has a lot of merit. Uh, Everybody is affected by materials, and material protection is important. And then how we are going towards sustainability is important. And how we as humans, all of us, need to maybe take part in this beautiful journey of becoming a more sustainable world. So there's a lot of merit there, but at the end of the day, people who are ready to receive the message will be the ones that will find this podcast. So
Absolutely. And everyone that is listening that thinks of someone that should listen to it will share it. And they will,
yeah, and that's
uh,
the beauty of these work that you're doing. You're reaching so many people, and it's easy. Maybe somebody at a time in their life, they see some connection, then they could, feel comfort in knowing that other people are going through similar things. So I really appreciate you, Monica, for doing this, for bringing all of us. I think I've seen a lot of my dear colleagues and my dear mentors coming and talking to you. And for us in material performance and business, it's just becoming a home. You come here, you see what other people are up to, and that is important. And thank you for doing that.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's my passion, is to bring people together and then just to share things. And like you said, shed a light on you're not alone. And there is other people that have gone through things. So if you're going through something, probably we haven't spoken about that in the podcast. Reach out and I'll tell you which episode to watch. Uh,
Yeah.
and it is amazing to see how much or how many similarities do we have, regardless of where are we geographically located, or how far uh, or how big it is our impact on the work that we are doing as a technical people, especially in materials. So that is really good, and I think that is something that is special about having conversations like that. So I'm very glad that you enjoyed the time. To all the audience, I'll see you in the next episode. And then, yeah, this is how we grow. So thank you so
Yes.
much. Here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Materials Business Podcast. Feel free to visit infinitygrowth.ca to see show notes and explore other episodes. If there's someone you think should hear this episode, please share with them. Take care of yourself and have a great rest of your day.